1250 WTMA.
Now, here's more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back, folks, as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. I always like to just take a little bit of time at each show and just tell you that I really do appreciate those of you that listen to this program. It's been an honor. It's my pleasure. I find it fun. I find it therapeutic, frankly, to be on this show and just tell you guys like it is. You know, I don't necessarily have to worry about one individual's feelings, or there's not a lot of emotion in what I'm saying or how I'm saying it, other than to just help you understand that I'm obviously passionate about what I do. But I don't like sugarcoating the market, the process. Obviously, every person has a different set of goals and circumstances that we need to incorporate into an overall plan. But for the purpose of this show, I like taking the gloves off and giving you guys the honest truth about what's going on in this market and about the process of working with real estate agents. There's a reason why our industry has not very good things to say about the people that work within it. And I think that in many instances, it's earned. There's a lot more education that can happen in our industry. We can make the barrier to entry a little bit better, right? Harder. But there are also plenty of agents out there that do a really fantastic job. And they'll be the ones that survive. They'll be the ones that weather this upcoming storm. You know, it's not going to be, I always kind of laugh, but you go on YouTube and sometimes I look for just inspiration on what to talk about on this radio show. I've been doing it for almost a decade. Sometimes you just need, you need to get some opinions of others, and maybe that shapes a segment that I do, so on and so forth. But you always see when markets turn like this, I envision in my mind this picture of this guy that's pointing upward to this gigantic tidal wave that has houses riding the crest of the wave, about how this market is about to just, totally ruin the country. It's not that bad. It's going to get a little bad here in I think next year, maybe even into 2024. But I don't think we're looking at a 2008. We're not looking at a crash. We're not looking at a tidal wave of foreclosures. We're just coming back down to reality. I mean, the past few years have been bonkers in our market. It has been very challenging for buyers. It's been a dream for sellers. So we're just we're leveling the scales a little bit. One thing, though, that I think is going to be really challenging for you as the consumer, and I say this without any attachment to my interest in earning your business. This is me being extremely honest. There are a lot of agents in this market, in this region, across the country, that have been doing this for a year or two or three or four. They're COVID agents, if we want to call them that. They've only seen the market appreciate at an accelerated rate. So when you're newer as an agent, frankly, it's a little easier to get business from buyers than it is to get business from sellers, because when you work with a seller, you have to have an actual marketing plan. You should be able to show, hey, these are my results for the other properties that I have represented for the sellers that have hired me, and here's what I got done. When you can sit down and show somebody, I mean, we've got a binder in our office, and it's almost like a joke. We don't show it to anybody, but it's just a visual representation of how hard we work. We've got a binder that's like 3 inches thick of every house we've sold. There's like over 1,200 of them in there. Not like I would plop that thing down on someone's kitchen table and say, here's my resume. But, we've been around. We've sold real estate in every market that's gone up, down, stayed, flat. And we've been successful in it as, top 1% of agents since 2009. But when agents experience this market shift, there are going to be a lot of them that just frankly exit the industry, because the overwhelming population of people are not as motivated to move as they have been in years past. And we know why, right? Interest rates are, more than twice what they were even at the beginning of the year. Affordability is not great. Sellers are now sitting pretty because they're in 2 to 3% mortgages, and there has to be a really good reason for somebody to move right now. So things are just deflating a little bit. And because of that lack of demand, these agents need to be, and they should always be, let me first add that caveat, you should always have an agent that's doing everything they can do to sell your property or find you a property to purchase. But let's be honest, it's been, aside from the challenges of like dealing with a multiple offer scenario where you and your buyer are competing against 8 others, right? Now that that scenario has been removed, they're going to have to get back to, all right, well, how can I use my skills, my connections, my marketing prowess, the resources that I have available to me to create as much exposure and interest and action in my listings as possible. The reality is most agents are going to start, if not have already, are cutting their budgets. They're leaning up, right? To get, the winter is coming. And so they're cutting expenses, they're cutting people, and they're going to put it all on their shoulders. They're going to try and figure it out. Not a great winning strategy. For us, as a complete flip side to that, this is when we absorb more market share because we do more, we spend more, we offer more, and then the results, hopefully, of course, speak for themselves. But for us, this is when our market share grows because I know this market, I know how to sell in it. And you have to be investing in your business and yourself and in your ability to promote your client's property. Proactive marketing is so important right now. Actually showing sellers how you're going to go out into the market and find people that might be interested in your property. That, if I could leave you with one major thing, aside from the obvious of like working with an agent that has experience and preferably an agent that has sold real estate in a market like this, the big question is, what are you going to do to find buyers for my home other than what's done automatically for you as a result of the property just being in the MLS? That's the question you need to write down and ask the agent that you interview, because it might turn out that your friend or the person you go to church with or the realtor that your aunt used, that she goes to Pilates with, or like whatever, wherever you find these agents and whatever that connection is, interview them, sit them down, make them go through their plan, their process, and talk about what things might look like if things don't go perfectly according to plan. What's plan B? What's plan C? How can we get ahead of that? What experience do they have that helps you as a seller avoid those things from happening in the first place? If you'd like to receive a list of questions to ask a real estate agent in a market like this, especially one that's coming up, I'll give you a free guide. All you have to do is text the word interview to 843-800-0065. That's 843-800-0065. Text the word interview, and I'll send you that list of questions that you should be asking an agent in this new market to make sure that you're making the right decision. Or, of course, you can just go to listingsincharleston.com. You can check us out there, and there's a contact tab where you can leave your contact information. But it's incredibly important that now more than ever, you choose the right agent the first time, because for any of us that own our own businesses, we understand, and you don't even have to own your own business, but we collectively understand the importance of making the right first hire and the cost associated with making a bad hire. All right. So if I can provide you with some information, some direction, a way of thinking to help you hire the right agent the first time, again, 843-800-0065. Text the word interview, and I'll send you those questions. Or you can go to listingsincharleston.com, or you can send me an email, brian@brianbeattyteam.com. Stick around for the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Stay tuned for more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.